It is I, Spoiler Gotha. I just flew down to make sure everyone knows that this episode regards the beginning of World of Warcraft Dragonflight. If you do not want to get spoiled on any of the brand new content, perhaps, I don't know, like wait a week to listen to this one, because we'll be all over the place. I mean, they'll be all over the place, talking about all the goodies of this first Dragonflight week. Okay, time to go, eat a fish and channel a ley line. Oh, bye.
2, 1, 0.
Archers, attack! Keep firing! Let none escape! Another down! Do not relent!
Hey everybody, welcome to official Dragonflight podcast, Do Not Relent! I'm Slidewhistle.
I am Immunization.
I'm Aaron, Fire Mage Extraordinaire and Horde Punching Bag.
And you all look like you deserve some supplies. Isn't there a saying for this?
You know what? I've heard her say it so many times, but I don't actually know what she says. Usually I'm just like, fuck off, Dragon Lady. I'm doing something else.
No, we need you to not... I need you out there getting these boxes collected.
I'm level 70, but I'm not done with the story yet. I'm still hanging out with Khadgar and Kaligos's many, many mirror images.
Okay, but what boxes are we referring to?
Apparently, some big dragon drops war supplies or dragonflight supplies when you are fighting in war mode. I've never seen her do it. She just shows up every 30 minutes to tell me she's doing it. And then, because I'm just like, I'll get my butt kicked, because I'm not 70 yet, but I just dinged 70 today.
Actually, you had a better chance of kicking butt pre-70, because that thing happens where, like, you hit 70 and, like, all your gears and stuff stabilize, and you get your ass kicked by 61s.
Ah, fuck.
Well, also, you're going to want to go after those chests. Hey, everybody, we're going to be all over the place this podcast. Dragonflight's out.
Yeah, there was already a spoiler at the beginning. I've recorded it. This is all about Dragonflight. If you are not like 70 up to date, everything's going to be spoiled. Something's going to be talked about that you might not have known.
Honestly, we're probably going to end up spoiling each other a little bit because, I feel like we're all at varying levels of, what we've completed. But yeah, we're just going to be all over the place. No structure this episode.
I have yet to enter Valdrakken, the final zone. So I'm sure you'll say something I don't know, but that's how it rolls.
Yeah, Valdrakken is beautiful, and I didn't get there until recently either because I've been taking my sweet time. The questing has been so good. But back to the war mode things. So there is a war mode quartermaster, and if you open these chests, these PvP chests that are designed to make you fight over them, which never really happens, by the way.
Are they like the ones that started in BFA where they would fall from the sky?
Yes, they fall from the sky. A helicopter. I think it was a helicopter. I've never actually seen the dropping vessel this time. It drops it. And so inside of this chest, if you get to it before the other faction does, are blood coins. I think they're called. They're called something like that. And you can spend these coins at the war mode quartermaster. And they have PvP gear that's 343. It's pretty good gear for early on, and it scales to 403 when you are in PvP settings, like when you're in the arenas and stuff. And it's cheap. I bought a wristband for 200, and it's I level to 343. So
that's interesting. So did both of you guys level entirely in war mode, or did you just switch at some point? I have yet to go into war mode. I was kind of worried that the pace that I wanted to level at, which I leveled really slowly. I just took everything in, and I just didn't want to have to scrap it all to hinder any of that.
I have been in war mode this entire time. I have won 0 fights in war mode except for the very beginning. The Waking Shores, a feral druid tried to start some shit, and me and another guy shut him down. I'm like, things are gonna go great. And then every day I get to a point where there's 4 horde guys who kick my ass. So I have to sit there in the ghost realm for 20 minutes and eat lunch and then hope they go away. I'm sure once everyone catches up and everyone's at the end, I'll have actual alliance support. But for right now, like, I'm in war mode, but that only accounts to every so often some horde group kicks my butt.
Damn, yeah. So, like, I think the sharding is probably having a big effect on, like, who experiences what. Because, so I didn't start in war mode in my evoker. I turned it on at, like, 63. Once I was like, okay, well, I couldn't get in for, like, 45 minutes at the very beginning of the launch. It was kind of, like, messy.
Yeah, I guess with that's a brief point we could talk about. There was a boat to go to the Dragon Isles, and the whole thing is I think it's supposed to take, like, 5 minutes to load back. It was taking an hour. And when they said an hour, you had to wait 1 hour for your chance to get on the boat.
Yeah, they like had like the boat timer, and at one point it just said like, I forget like what its actual phrase on it said, but it said like time unknown of arrival, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then like at some point they put down just like a portal that said like this will take you to the waiting stores because the boat isn't gonna come.
And then it stopped working, so they took the portal away, and then we're just like, I don't know, just hang out with the boat guy. That's how Cubby Bub and I made it in. Was we had to wait 1 Earth world hour to get on the boat.
So I was there at the very beginning, like I was ready to go. I was watching like the boat lady, her eyes like open like a fucking animatronic, and was like, "Boat will be arriving in 4 minutes, 57 seconds." And I'm like, "Oh my god, ugh, get away from me, you freak!" And so we're waiting. We're doing boat countdowns. Morales boats are coming every minute in between, and we're all like, "Get on the boat! Get on! That's the boat! Everyone get on it!" And people would get on the boat. And the Morales boat was, I think it was rigged to just teleport you somewhere. So it would just take people on the wrong trip, and they would be stuck in Morales.
And at launch, things were kind of unstable, so I assume the people who got teleported to Morales were probably stuck there. And, like, people were unable to hearth back to, like, Stormwind or wherever. Like, the loading screens were just not working. So that was a mean trick that some people were playing.
And also, if you stepped on the Morales boat at the point that I was logging in, this was like 3 or 4 hours after launch, they would warp you back and be like, that is not your destiny on the Dragon Isles. But it would restart the hour-long timer. At some point, Cubby Wub and I waited 15 minutes, hopped on the Morales boat, it warped us back, and it was like an hour. Wait another hour.
But and they're the same boats too. They're the same exact boats. Just one comes from the right side and the other comes from the left side. So finally, at the 0 minute mark, a boat like does not roll up. There's nothing there. We waited an extra 10 minutes at the beginning of the launch, and then finally, literally, this boat appeared. Like, it phased in out of nowhere. It didn't sail in. It phased in, popped in, and everyone ran onto this boat. And the second it phased in, it started to move. So the boat itself was broken from the get-go. Like, it popped in and then it sped off to the right. And it went to the Dragon Isles. And I was on that boat. I made it to the Dragon Isles. The loading screen took forever. People who took a portal appeared right after the boat left for the first time. Because they're like, fuck this boat thing. It's not working. And so then people were porting in and beating the boat people who were on the boat. Like, haha, suckers. And then I hearthed back to pick up my guild banner for experience. And I could not get back to Valdragon. The whole area was closed off for like an hour.
Man, but I feel like by the time the next day rolled around, things were like 100% stable. Honestly, by like several hours after launch, things were like more stable. I still think overall it was like probably not even the worst launch that we experienced.
No, and it's so terrible to say it, but like, yeah, within 3 hours after launch time, they kind of got their business together, and that's fairly good for modern Blizzard.
We're lucky, because some servers weren't lucky.
Yeah, I was told that like Illidan is still shitting the bed, potentially.
I heard it was down for like 3 days to some players. Like, it's down for a long time. Like, that's rough. Like, was China like bombarding it, getting back for Blizzard for taking it away from them? Like, is that what's going on there?
I don't know the official thing, but they have shut down service to China, but there is a different service they're using. So all of this was a big hullabaloo. BNet will still be available in China. You'll just have to use Firefox instead of Internet Explorer.
But when I started leveling my hunter after I got my priest to max level, so like earlier today or something like that, I got my hunter, and the boat was there, it acted as normal, and if you weren't able to actually do it, like I wasn't able to actually do the boat on my priest, I had to use a portal. I'd say it's worth like seeing. It's kind of cool, like being on the boat. You could like go up into the, what is that part of the boat called? Like the part way up on top.
The crow's nest?
Yeah, the crow's nest. Like you could go up there and then like observe the boat approaching the waking shores, and it's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, the questing has been so good. So like I took my sweet time. I think I was level 68 when I finished the Onaran Plains. Like I had 2 more zones to go and I was 68 and a half. Like I feel like it just goes so like fast.
Yeah. And also I feel like the quests, like maybe it's because I'm like spending the most time like reading, enjoying them, observing the zones, but I feel like they put like a little more stank on making these quests funny.
There's a lot of stank, I feel like. It's some good stank. And like I'm like, oh, like even some of these cinematics, I'm like, this is like kind of a cool ass moment. Oh my god, in the Azure Span, oof.
So I'm glad you mentioned cinematics. At the end of Shadowlands, we were talking about like they're getting really good at, you know, kind of matching the voices to the generic lip flaps and movement. It's like not 1-to-1, but like 0.9-to-1 at this point.
Yeah, for sure.
The in-game graphics cinematics are very good. They're actually getting almost like lip movements to the voices. I'm like, holy this is amazing compared to even BFA. We were having to deal with cutscenes where you were just using in-game things.
Yeah, like gestures and like talking animations.
Jaina was like, it's so great to have you back, Derek. And she was doing like /laugh. Now they're actually doing like real lip flaps, real movements. I'm like, holy shit. Like that's a big advancement, gang.
Yeah, I distinctly remember seeing the one in-game cinematic where I believe it was the first time that we saw an interaction between Alexstrasza and Rathion, and I'm like, shit, this is like, as you said, like almost 1-to-1. Like the lip syncing is like amazing. They've gotten so good at these.
It's kind of unthinkable that this, how old is this game now? 18 years old, like 19 years old. Like
yeah, it just did its 18th like 2 weeks ago.
Like, it looks so good. And, like, I know some people are out there skipping cinematics. You gotta watch these cinematics, man.
Yes, please.
So
I'm a big narrative guy, period. But I know a lot of people are like, I skipped everything to get to 70. Okay, that's fair. You can't go back in time. But if you have an alt, please go back and actually watch and listen to everything and read the quest. They put so much into this one. And I think it's maybe just because it's like a cheerier atmosphere or dragons or something. It just feels like such a huge improvement from even like the beginning of Shadowlands. Which,
yeah, it's weird.
Which I'll go on record as saying I did like Shadowlands, but this just feels so much more.
Yeah, so it's funny because I feel like we don't. It's funny that we three can have like the nostalgia for this, for something that we weren't really involved in the beginning. But this question feels old school. It feels like really old. Bring my husband some flowers, and I'm like, okay, let me do this 18 million times across every continent because it's like the old days. Everyone's fucking somebody.
Yeah, no, for real. The questing feels old school. It's legitimately like a lot of like romance type quests are just like, hey, help me with this small task, and it simultaneously is like a return to being like back to basics. Like I don't know, like the world isn't ending at this very moment type questing.
Yeah.
I mean, because like it's, you know, I'm like sarcastically doing air quotes, a return to Azeroth, you know, because like, you know, this is what the people fucking always say that they want, and like, yeah, okay, we've been in Azeroth almost the entire time that like WoW's career, but regardless, like this is a return to Azeroth in the sense that like it feels old school, like nostalgic, but also new at the same time, and I feel like they really hit a really good sweet spot there.
Yeah, and you both mentioned there's almost like depths to the narrative. Like in the Shadowlands, everything we were doing was incredibly dire. People are starving. We're fighting death gods. Here, like there's layers to it. Like I had to go fight the primal. I had to fight Razagath with the mage's mirror images, and what did I do after that? I went and I fought some guy who licked a salt rock so hard that he went insane. And I was like, you know what? I appreciate that. Sometimes you need a silly little salt man. And then I kicked his butt, went back to turn it in. He was laying on the ground. He was like, it was so salty. And I was like, I appreciate that.
And I don't know if, like, it's just because I'm doing more side quests now, but, like, similar to that, it's like, champion, the primalists are invading the Dream Grove, or whatever the fuck the, the green area in Onara was called. But, and then I'm like, oh, sorry, I have, like, some gardening to do. I need to relocate these bees real fast.
Yeah, so I was hanging out with Rathian, and he's like, we have to go do this thing for the important whatever. And there's a quest in Valdraken that's like, spa day. Hey, the local spa is no one can get in. The line's so long. Figure out why the spa line is so long. And he gets to the front of the spa line, and this panda's like, I am so sorry, the spa is closed today. And there's like quests to reopen the spa. And I'm like, what is this? Like, this is awesome.
2 points. 1, I did my first soup. Like,
yes,
I don't know what to call it. Like, soup event. That was
you did it with
wild.
Nuss too, by the way.
What did I?
You did it with Nuss. You and Nuss both got the achievement for finishing
Nuss.
it, and then Nuss
Okay.
said, "Grats, Growl," and then you didn't respond to it. And then he even said after that, "Growl, are you gonna use your new item you got from the soup event?" In the guild chat.
Again, no response.
I guess to answer Nuss, yes, it's a very good trinket. And sorry, Nuss, I hate to say it, I don't pay attention to you when we are not in the raiding atmosphere.
Okay, but the soup event, how good was your soup? Was it poor? Was it?
It was
epic?
legendary quality.
Wow, fuck you. So people were actually helping you, because when I
Yes.
was doing this, it was just me, and I'm begging like, people, please, this man needs soup help. I need soup help. We made a poor soup because it was just me.
Our soup quality was so good that the little walrus man said, you have to do 5 activities. I'm like, it's tough, because it'd be like, kick 12 fish back into the soup. As soon as I think about it, 13 people were kicking fish back into the soup. I was like, oh my goodness. But also, you mentioned that a panda was included, and I just got to say this. This is going to be a smorgasbord of thoughts and events and everything. They talked about the fact that, like, everyone, all the explorers are coming to the Dragon Isles, and they meant it. You go into a camp, there's maybe, like, 1 elf, 1 human. There will be, like, 2 gnomes, 3 dwarves, 2 Pandaren. Like, there is actual...
Yeah, you're right.
Azerithian diversity now, and it's wild. You'll do a quest, and it's like, I'm an undead, a troll, a gnome, and a mechanome. Can you help us? And I was like, holy shit. Like, usually every other race other than the pretty ones, there's like 1 token guy that might be around. But it's like, literally everyone's here now.
And I will say, like, yes, there's been lots of diversity in, like, what we've been presented with, like, all these Azerithians coming to the Dragon Isles, but I just want to say, who the fuck told these dragons that they can start taking visage forms as Volpera?
They've gone too far.
That's also interesting. I wonder if that dragon had been looking at Vol'dun for a while and it was like, yep. Or if Major Domo Strelaza just had not chosen a visage. And then within the last year, she's like, okay, that one. Also, I should say, I'm sorry, I kept saying she's one of them non-binies, as Joey Wheeler would say.
I'm convinced that dragons just take the form of the thing they want to see naked the most. They're taking a Shaggy and Daphne approach from Scooby-Doo's the movie. Remember when they swapped?
Yes, I can look at my... Also, fuck you, that was Fred and Daphne.
Oh, yeah, it was Fred.
I can look at myself naked. That's Major Domo Strelaza looking at a little fox person.
Did you know that Freddie Prinze Jr. was also a writer for WWE SmackDown for a while? While also playing Freddie in that movie? Yeah, isn't that bizarre? That's a bizarre crossover to me. Anyway, yeah, I fucking love this world. Like, this is so... Like, okay, so wait. So back to, like, to the diversity talk. I also really, really, really love that they made Sindragosa's visage form, like, a dark-skinned elf. And I'm like, this is so good. Nobody can even be like, it's a rat kind, because no one knows what the fuck she looked to begin with.
Yeah,
and
so many dragons just had never turned into a visage form because that wasn't really a thing that they did. That now you can go back and be like, oh, they were always this. Like, the last thing I did before I logged on to do this was I did the mainline quest where you see Senegos, and he lands and he's a troll guy. And I was like, I mean, that's fair. I never saw him turn into like a person. So
In Legion,
he's
he
a
was
troll.
a troll.
Was he truly?
Yeah, he was the one that we did a lot of questing with in that one place leading up to, I think, the Emerald Nightmare, right?
Yes, he was in Azuna. He was sitting in a big pool, but I don't remember him not turning into a dragon. So I guess sorry if I was just now surprised by his troll form.
Also, that whole thing was so cool, and I feel like this is one of the first distinct times that I feel like a reference was made that was a callback that we've been playing long enough now that, like, I popped for it. Like, when that little tiny dragon came and is a little older now, it was like, that's the one that we have as a battle pet.
I stood up and I was like, no fucking way is that my baby, Emmy Gosa.
Yes.
She can't be here. She's not old enough. And then
Oh
bam,
my god,
Emmy
I
Gosa.
just realized that was her. That's
Yeah, we saved
the
her.
one that we picked up when we dropped her in the pool. She was like the one
Yes.
living one.
And
or
then
I'm sorry,
Senegos
the
healed her.
one. Yeah, the one that we didn't heal with a magic crystal. It was like, this one's too weak. Put it in my pool.
She's fighting, and so, like, I'm like, oh my god, like, am I a blue Dragonflight stan? Like, I always consider myself to be, like, a Slytherin black Dragonflight. But, like, the blue Dragonflight, I love all of them. And then I turned it out to Immune, and I was like, but they're librarians. And I was like, I was a librarian.
I was like, legitimately, Slidewhistle, your lore points to you being a blue dragon.
Well, were you? I don't remember you putting away a lot of books. I remember you using Yik Yak
I put
and
away
your
so many
muscles
books.
to punch boys out, punch creeps out of the library.
What do you think Senegos does in his spare time?
He is patrolling Yik Yak.
But yeah, just some really great callbacks. And it just, that whole area, that whole Azure span felt very Legion to me, which, I mean, it kind of had to, right? Like, because it's called the Azure span. We're requesting in Azuna. We have the same dragons hanging with us. Like, it's kind of cool.
And in general, I just want to say that I feel like this entire expansion, obviously we're really high on this expansion because, like, it just came out and we'll see how it ages, but I have high hopes for it. Anyways, the Azure span in general, and I think maybe just all of it, all of Dragonflight so far, feels like a perfect mix of, like, a bunch of past expansions and, like, things that we liked about them. So you said that, like, the Azure span reminded you of Legion and Legion questing, but part of the Azure span, like, with the Tuskarr area, it feels very Lich King, yeah.
Yeah, because like, that's where they came. Yeah, so that whole area feels very wrath. And then, like, you go to the Onaran Plains. The Onaran Plains just feels like a version of the Grand. And I am so surprised. I thought for sure the Centaur storyline, I was going to be like, this fucking sucks. I don't care about... I'm a Centaur stan. I love the Centaurs. The story has been so good in that area. That's why I did almost all the side quests already. Because that area is so awesome. I will say though, it is pretty bad for war mode. So because it's completely like plains, it's so flat with no hills. When war packages fall from the sky, because it's built so low, the packages can't land on any high ground. So they phase out before they can hit the ground because they're falling for so long. So everyone's gathering like, hooray, it's gonna fall.
So like you can't even collect these things because Onaran Plains are so flat.
Yep.
Yeah, so this is something that we didn't even realize, but apparently the way that the war chests work, their timer starts as soon as they stop dropping as opposed to when they hit the ground, which is a really bad oversight. Like, this is 100% a bug and Blizzard should fix it.
Yeah, or like it also may just be like, well, it hasn't hit the ground yet, so it has an internal timer to phase out if it hasn't hit the ground yet. It's probably also what it is, because like, it can spawn off the map, technically. So it's just so low. So I've had everyone submit bug reports, be like, please submit a bug report saying this, so that we can see the message and they can fix it. Because there was 8 of us, like, okay, boys, we're gonna get our blood coins. And it was like literally comically like directly above our heads. And then it went, and it just disappeared. And everyone went, fuck this game.
Like, that sucks, but it actually is kind of funny as well.
It's hilarious.
So I have to say, you mentioned playing the game. I've noticed that you've actually stuck with buy your Drakthir. How has that been getting to level 70? Because I've noticed a lot of people have been saying that they felt a little squishy after the first few levels.
I felt really fine. Like, Drakthir Evoker feels so good. And then when I hit 70, And that's when things started to feel a little wonky. So in war mode, I've only gotten into one fight on my Invoker, and that's at 70. And it was over a war chest. And I should have known better, because the horde opposing me was none other than a Shadow Priest. And you never, ever should challenge a Shadow Priest to a duel.
You will lose to a Shadow Priest in a duel. The Banana Man himself said so.
I wish I could be the Shadow Priest in a duel.
And that's exactly what fucking happened. He melted my face. I was like, what buttons would I press in a PvP situation if I was to get into a fight? And as I'm like figuring out my key bindings, he's jumping me and he's murdering me. So like, I think they do feel a little squishy, but like they're ranged, right? So like by default, range is kind of already squishy unless you're a warlock. And my self heals are nothing to write home about. Like I can living flame myself, but the cast time can be so long if I don't get a proc. So I think Invokers are overall just kind of squishy in general, but I really like how they play. Like they're fun, and they're kind of complicated. They're way more complicated than I thought they would be.
They also have like a shit ton of utility.
All I know is
It's
every time I
insane.
try and fight one, they pull out a bunch of shit to the point that I just double warp away and go invisible. I'm like, I just don't feel like fighting you anymore, guy. You do some damage, you have enough heals that I'm just like, I'm done with it. As a mage, I cannot defeat you because I cannot heal.
And then I don't know if they can even defeat you, because catching you after 2 blinks and like an invisibility, it's kind they're kind of low mobility, which sounds weird.
you have to use soar or flap, the one where you hover on the ground. That's really your only movement ability.
And they don't really have a stun. Like you can spec into some stuns, but it's not really ideal. So advice, just run away from an Invoker and you'll probably be fine before they can catch you. But I've also, my Feral Druid is 68 and a half right now. I've been power leveling him through dungeons. And the alt track, so if you finish the campaign on your main and you start up an alt, you immediately have access to world quests. You have access to, you can go wherever you want, and if all your dragon riding shit carries over.
So yeah, so my advice would be that before you level an alt, I would at least finish the main storyline campaign on your main. And then also it'd be beneficial to collect as many of the dragon riding tokens as you can and upgrade as much as you can there too, because I'm leveling my hunter now after I got all my tokens and finished the campaign. I just start with like a maxed out dragon riding, and it just feels so good for questing.
Yeah, you are off the ground immediately. Like
You have
there's
all of the tokens? How many
Yes.
are there in an area? I see people getting their achievement about like token hunter every 15 minutes, and I was like, so there's not like dozens of these things in each zone.
So yeah, so they give you just enough tokens in each area to where you can perfectly max out your trees. How many would you say there are? Like 40? Is that too many?
40 in each zone?
No, total. So like
Oh,
Aaron said,
fine.
like there's not 12 in each zone, but I think there are about 12 in each zone.
There's 55 total tokens. That's the number that's total, because I saw that on my Feral Druid. So that divided by 4 is how many there are.
I just know very, very casual members of the guild. I've seen them get like a symbol hunter Valdraken, and I was like, okay, well, this must be easy because this person is never putting their A game into the games, and they
So
have it.
there's maps and stuff that like I was following. Like so, like when Immune did it, that's the first thing he did was he flew through every zone with dragon riding and got all the tokens. What I was doing was each zone I entered, I would scoop up all of the tokens. But I was on an Invoker, so I could soar when I'm not using dragon riding. Max out dragon riding, you basically almost never run out of vigor. You can fly for as long as you want. Like it's actually well worth getting that like before you do anything else.
Legitimately, I got max dragon riding before I even finished the Waking Shores. I was just like, yeah, I want max dragon riding and I want all of those benefits, and it made it feel so much better. Also, I just had fun collecting the tokens. It was kind of enjoyable.
Dragon riding has been amazing. Like I don't know, I don't understand how they did it, but everything about it just feels so good. And I'm so happy that it worked out, because normally when they hype up like an expansion feature, they end up either nerfing it or it sucks ass. Islands or mission tables. This, oh my god, it's felt so great.
It's almost
Yeah.
too convenient. Like I guess I've gotten into fights when we were both in a zone doing quest stuff, but if you get even now where I have maybe like a third of the way to max Dragonflight, if I don't want to mess with someone, I can easily go like a continent away. It feels like, when will you ever see people on the ground, I wonder?
No, you're right. You're 100% correct. I didn't even think about that because like I hadn't gotten into any fights in PvP, and I wonder how much of that is because we're all just flying above each other. We're not walking like we normally are.
And the stuff recharges so fast to the point that like I do 30 seconds of ground stuff, and I'm like, okay, on my dragon, I flap 2 flights away, and I'm like 1,000 miles away now, and it's like, okay, time to do my other stuff.
Yeah, it is kind of weird, and it's even weirder on when I'm playing an evoker because I can soar, right? And so early on, I'd run out of my 3 vigor that would take 30 seconds to refill, so I would just soar in between dragon riding, and that was a great compliment to it. But now my vigor, I have 6 vigor, and it refills in like 5 to 15 seconds. I never press soar anymore because its cooldown is 2.3 minutes. No, it's 2 minutes now. With all my reductions, it's 2 minutes. There's no incentive to use soar at all. I don't go faster. I think it's slower because I don't regain my charges in midair. So just fucking take away the cooldown time or let me use it in combat because there's no benefit to using soar at all on the Dragon Isles.
I was going to say on the Dragon Isles because you can soar outside of the Dragon Isles, I think, right?
Yeah, but the cooldown reduction does not stay, so I'll only be able to soar every 4 minutes outside of the Dragon Isles, opposed to 2 minutes on the Dragon Isles. It should be 0 minutes on the Dragon Isles, and that should be it. Because again, you can't even go faster than a dragon riding person, so what does it matter?
And you can only use it outside of combat anyways, if that was what they were thinking.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
But yeah, just overall, dragon riding has been one of my favorite things so far. It just feels so cool. And I've said this like in Discord, I think on a few servers already. But I guess I'll just reiterate it here that like I just think it's so bonkers that Blizzard has been able to take something as old and honestly, frankly, boring as flying in this game and make it into something completely new and exciting and fun.
And then there's the dragon time trials and the dragon races, and those have been fun too. I get excited when I see one. It wasn't like, oh great, I have to do this riding quest. It's like, let's fucking go. Let's beat this course and get a gold medal on it.
Also, the music that plays during those timed races, it just feels so epic. It just makes the race feel even more cool.
It is a bummer though. There does seem to be accessibility issues, like if you have like low vision or any, because like I'm fucking struggling on some of these gold courses, and I'm like my eyes are okay for the most part. Like I can see, and I'm hitting trees and shit, and I'm like the winds will be just so like out of the corner of your eye, you can't really catch them in time.
Or like some of the courses just have such sharp turns. I get turned around. I'm like, where the fuck am I?
Yeah, so I don't know how like people like struggling are gonna get through this, but like I guess you don't really have to, but it still kind of sucks, you know?
Well, Growl, I'm not gonna lie. We've just been hanging out, chilling. It's been half the time already. I need you to cover while I go grab another beer.
Greetings, everyone. I don't know about you, but I am quite excited for today's Growl on the Prowl, as it marks my first interview here on the Dragon Isles. Speaking of firsts, I'm speaking with Draco Meteor, my very first Draktheer on the show. Drak, what's it like to be part of history? My entire life has honestly been living up to this moment, I guess. A real honor. For me as well. So what's the first thing you're going to do here on the Isles? A dungeon or two? Work through the story? Well, those both sound fun, but actually, I'm gonna get my fishing level up first. Drak, come on! You're really gonna spend the first hours of your time in this brand new world we just found fishing? Look, Blizzard said we can go at our own pace. And this is my pace. I'm a fisher boy by heart. Well, I don't get it, but I can respect your hustle. You've shown me that perhaps a city girl and a country boy can get along after all.
Well, I've stolen enough of your time, audience, so it looks like I'm sending you back to the boys. Ciao. And just like that, I'm back from the brink of death, ready to continue the show.
So I guess another main new feature of Dragonflight is the complete revamp of professions, and I just want to say it's been so overwhelming. It's exciting, and like professions people are probably like eating this shit up, and I just don't even know where to start on some of my professions, honestly.
Well, I know where to start, and I'm mad.
Oh, what you mad about?
Well, I'm mostly mad because with alchemy, which is my profession of choice, you can make like 3 or 4 potions out in the open using sticks and stones, just a little mortar and pestle made out of a rock. But a lot of these things you need a bench for. And I'm like, I mean, I get it to make it cool, to make it like the big important things you need to go to the professions corner in the big city to do. But it's also like, between you and me, I kind of liked when I used to be able to do everything on my own. I don't like when I get 13 Thithel and 14 Fire Rocks that I have to go back to Valdrakken, which I don't even know where it is yet, so I have yet to find a bench and go back and do the thing.
So wait, so what exactly requires you to be at a bench, like you as an alchemist? Because I haven't had this experience yet.
I'm unsure of the specific thing, but like it's even like potions, or like to break down potions to turn them back into some components, which you need to do for some quests. You need a bench. Like I would say a solid 70% of the potions I have right now, you need to be at a bench to do.
Wow, you know, I'm gonna be controversial and say I actually like this a lot, only because so blacksmithing has been dealing with this with anvils for forever. They need to have an anvil. You have to have an anvil with you. You have to use an anvil. Or with cooking, you have to have a cooking fire, or you can have like Ragnaros's head, which I usually pull out. But like alchemy, leatherworking, like some of the other ones, you just get to just do them whenever, and it's like you don't need to like wear like a mat, like a hat or something. Like I don't know.
I wonder if there is going to be a thing, or if there already is a thing. I'm a little ignorant to this. That like is like a portable alchemist bench or something.
Yeah, I'm sure when I get to Valdrakken, which once again I have not made it there as of yet, but maybe when I get there, I go to the Alchemist Guild and they're like, "Here's a portable bench. I made it out of a dragon tooth."
I don't think so.
As of yet, I have not encountered this thing. So like I can gather up my materials, but then I need to hearth back to the city to do anything with them.
So I think the trade-off here, I think that there are actually benches all across the Dragon Isles. So I was doing Brackentide Hollow, which is the Knoll dungeon. I think it's Brackentide, whatever the Knoll dungeon is.
Brackenhide, very sad, but also very funny, but not intentionally funny.
So at the when you kill the last boss, if you actually go up the ramp behind the boss, there's an alchemy table up there. I was just walking around, and I was walking up there, and I'm like, what is this thing? And I clicked on it, and it was just like a workbench for alchemy. And alchemists who craft at this bench or interact with the bench, I'm not sure, I'm not an alchemist, they receive new recipes because they interacted with this bench.
There's a lot of them, because there's also pots going around, because the main boss is an alchemist. And if someone with alchemy level 25 or greater touches it, everyone can get potions out of it.
I love shit like this. Like, so like it makes your profession feel like it matters
it makes me think of the Court of Stars, where there was that spot where like there was different diversions based on what your profession was. And it's like, that's actually cool. That incentivizes people to have a bunch of different professions, because in the dungeons you can actually help out.
Yeah, they've definitely, like, beyond just, like, upgrading professions overall, they definitely seem to be, like, using things like that in dungeons to make them, like, professions worth taking for anyone, even beyond just crafters. I saw at some point, Slide pointed out to me that, like, there was, like, also, like, a timeless, what was it called?
I think it was called a time loom. It was during like a Valdrakken story. We were working with Chromie and stuff, and there was just this loom that was exuding like the Chromie, like the bronze dragonflight sand magic, and tailors can interact with it and use it as a crafting bench.
Yeah, so I interacted with it when I was doing that storyline. I don't think I got any recipes or anything, but yeah, I could craft at it. But like that's also weird because tailoring seems to be one of the professions that I can pretty much craft whatever I want wherever I want. So I don't know what the benefit of crafting at one of those tables is.
I think so. So I have never been a crafting profession really. For this expansion, I picked up skinning and leatherworking, so I can make mail from my evoker and leather from my pharaoh druid, and I'm really liking the system. And I can also make my shit anywhere, but I think the idea is I can access a leather workbench for work orders. So like I can see work orders come through there, which no one's doing yet because everyone's just started. But work orders is basically seems like an extension of the auction house, where like Aaron, like so you're an alchemist, right? You could put in a work order, a guild work order that only guildies could see for an alchemist hat. And an alchemist hat is something that we can make that increases your stats when making alchemy items.
Yes, I do have one. That's the thing is, I need to find one of these benches because you remember the nerd alchemist outfit? I am fully duded out with it. I have all the components. I just need to find a bench to start doing shit.
What's the quality of your hat? Because I can
it's probably not
hat.
Good. Yeah, it's probably a bronze 1-star on all 3 elements there.
I'm making Minecraft diamond quality things. So if you want a diamond quality hat, you know where to come. Come to good old Buy, the leather worker, BYE. I'm really liking where it is like right now. Like even skinning, something simple as skinning just feels so cool. Did you guys know that there are even specs for your shit? There's 3 skinning specs that you have to specialize in, and you have to choose which one you want first.
And then there's talent trees within them. Like they fully made professions like a viable portion of this game, it feels like.
Which is funny because I feel like we completely ignored any of this information before because we don't usually engage in the crafting professions like this. Like this is so dope.
Yeah, definitely super excited for all of the like crafting mains out there.
So as a leather worker, I specialize in mail armor. I was working with Bear Force 1. I was letting him know I'm doing mail, so you do whatever the hell you want. We got Billy, who's also going to be our one of our guild crafters, and I'm not sure what spec he's doing, but there's like 4 or 3 specs.
Whoa, Billy?
Oh yeah, you missed a guild meeting.
Wait, but like Billy?
Bileh.
Good. I was about to say, because I've been holding on to Billy for so long, I have not played him.
Billy?
I have Billy.
You gotta get Billy to Billy. Billy's name is Billy.
No, fuck. Billy can pay me $1 million to get the name off of me.
A Billy.
Yeah, that's a pretty good name, though. You should use it for confusion. But also, we did have a good meeting, Aaron, and oh my god, did you...
No, I heard I dodged a bullet. For those in the know, I said I'd be driving, doing work at that time. I just super wasn't. It was just like, I'm not someone important. I'm just going to dodge this thing.
Wait, you weren't doing anything? You were just lied?
I was sitting on the couch with Cubby Bub, and you guys were texting about, like, this is a shit show. And I was like, that's a shit show.
Wow. I'm calling you out next meeting. I mean, like, Aaron didn't come because he just lied to us. I'm going to make you come to the next one.
And they'll be like, fine. He doesn't contribute anything, and I'll just shrug.
Ugh, it was bad, though. It went on far too long, and it felt more painful than any work meeting I've ever been a part of.
Wow. Well, no, we don't. Aaron doesn't get to hear our bad stories because he lied to the world about where he was.
Anyways, there's definitely a lot more important stuff about Dragonflight that we need to talk about. Is there any other, like, things that we want to discuss about professions, or should we move on?
Check your spec trees and, be very frugal with your points. Don't try to specialize in everything at the beginning. Eventually, you can do that. Focus down on one thing you want to be good at, because then, like, think about how many people are doing professions, right? Like, you will end up in a better spot if you just, like, pick one spec and you generalize into it or specialize into it.
Yeah, it makes sense. I haven't even gotten to a high enough enchanting or tailoring level to even see the specs yet, so I'm excited to see there. I think I'm like 20, and I think they open up at 25.
I don't think your enchanting will have specs, but I think your tailoring definitely will. My herbalism didn't have specs, and neither did my mining. I know enchanting's a little more in depth than those two, but just who knows, you know?
Yeah. So I guess what do we want to talk about next? Do we just want to like talk about the story, like some of the storyline, the story beats, like from the beginning?
Yeah, we got so much to go through. Let's do that.
So when we first arrive in the Waking Shore, what is the red dragonkin that we are greeted by effectively? What's her name
Major
again?
Domo Stellaris or something. And excuse me, we're gonna have to use Zerzur because that's a non-binary.
I was talking about, spoiler alert, the one that sacrifices herself for no good reason.
Vendrax.
Sendrax.
Also, like, RIP. I feel like so far this expansion has, like, introduced characters, and just, like, as soon as I'm like, oh, they're cool, like, they just randomly die.
They are not pulling punches for a bunch of people who have been gone for 10 million years. A lot of dragon and dragonkin are falling down in this expansion.
Which, like, okay, so, like, on like one hand, it's like completely not dire compared to like us literally fighting the jailer and death itself, or like fighting up in the cosmos on Argus. But like, friends and people that we are interacting with for the first time on Azeroth are dying to these threats, so they also feel dire, even though it's like on a smaller scale. I don't know really, but like, you know what I mean.
Sorry, everybody, I don't mean to derail this, but we do have a red hot alert right now. Stranger Things Jim Hopper will be doing dungeon runs on Twitch December 2nd.
Heard
this
it.
will be out by now, won't it? It says tomorrow.
Black Widow's own David Harbour, Red Star himself, will be running some dungeons probably before you listen to this.
2 p.m. Pacific, which is 5 p.m. Friday. So if you are an early listener, you will actually be able to watch Jim Hopper later today do his magic in Dragonflight.
So weird.
Bad Hellboy himself will be doing some Dragonflight, probably half-heartedly, and then logging out forever.
No, he's with his best friends, Maximum, Annie Fuchsia, Nagura, and Larsfest. He loves those people. His favorite streamers and content creators of the World of Warcraft community.
That's so weird, because do you guys also see that like Brian Pillman Jr. has this like collaboration with Method Gaming to like stream Dragonflight as well?
For those who don't know, Brian Pillman Jr. is a wrestler, son of famed wrestler Brian Pillman, who worked with Uncle Steve Austin and also killed himself with pills, because it's the Brian Pillman way.
Well, he is. I would say he's the Pillman. You're born by the Pillman, you die by the pills, man.
It's real sad.
Anyways, back to like the storyline here.
Yeah, it's just, there's just a lot going down, and we're sitting at a solid 48 minutes in the recording here. So I guess we'll do as much as we can this time, but you show up and there's not really, like, you're just there for research. You're there just to be there. And then, yes, Sendrax, this red dragon, is like, there's some silly billy business happening in the distance, but I'll go with you. Surely nothing scary's going down.
But then scary things start to go down, like the primalists attacking, stealing red dragon eggs, and imbuing them with primalist energy to like convert them from like the order magic of the Titans, and like effectively, air quotes, make them evil, and then we have to like put them down. It's kind of
I was about to say,
sad.
yeah, it's 0 to 60. You don't save that many eggs. You crack them, and then Sendrax, tears in her eyes, has to like cut their heads off.
And then the capstone of this little Sendrax storyline is like, there's one egg that I believe hasn't been corrupted yet, and then she's like, champion, grab it. I will stop the primalists from corrupting it. And then she ends up like sacrificing herself so we can like take this egg. And I'm like, Sendrax, it was not that serious. Like, you did not have to die.
Yeah, when I was doing it, she was like, I grab it, I'll protect us. And I was like, all right, I grabbed it, and then she died, and I was like, no! And Amin looked over, and I was like, it's nothing, don't look away from my pain. I was just beginning to like her, and that was it.
I know, she was like just some excited new recruit that like was one of the first faces we saw, were first ones requesting with, and then she fucking dies like like 1/3 of the way through the first zone's questing, and I'm like, what the fuck, Blizzard? Stop.
War is hell in the Dragon Isles.
And then you go take that egg, you hatch it, and then you do a silly little quest where you use it to shoot living plants and pick up silly charms. There's a bit of tonal difference between the main quest and the side quest.
Yeah, so this questing you're referring to is now like at the, is it called like the Ruby Pools or something? It's like where Alexstrasza is.
The Ruby Dragon Shrine. It's where their oath stones are, which, by the way, for people just coming in, the whole thing is that there's no aspects anymore because they gave up their powers to kill Deathwing, but now they need to be aspects again, so you'll be visiting various areas and renewing their oath stones. And the first one is the ruby one.
Right. Because, like, apparently the oaths that they made for their Dragonflight and for Azeroth is, like, kind of what empowers them. So you need to help them re-empower these stones so that they can become aspects again.
And it's funny because in the Black Dragonflight world, it's currently a fight between Sibelian, who's come back from Outland, who everybody was like, Blizzard forgot about Sibelian and his Burning Crusade Black Dragonflight. Why aren't they here? Well, dummies, he's here with the whole crew.
Well, so that's the thing. Everyone's like, so not everyone, but there were people who were like, you forgot Sibelian. Where is he? And then he showed up, and then they ran a poll of like, okay, RTRT, who do you think should lead the Black Dragonflight? And Rathian's winning 87% to like 13. It's like, I mean, I appreciate them bringing Sibelian back. Who's backing my man?
Well, it's also like, it's not even a fight because, again, I'm sitting here staring at the 5 Dragonflight pins that came in the Collector's Edition box, and Rathian is one of the Dragonflight heads, not Sibelian. So, obviously, Rathian wins, and Marithra will die, and Ysera will come back to replace her because the pins spoil everything.
Listen, so like I know we've shit on my girl Marithra like 17 times on this podcast already, but questing through that zone with her, I don't know why they spoiled the fact that Ysera is coming back or and all of that, because like Marithra seems like a very capable leader of the Dragonflight right now.
She's competent.
They've built her up. She seems like a good leader of the Dragonflight. Like, I don't know why they need Ysera to come back. I feel like this here alone has built her up, and she's a believable aspect if she wants to be.
Her own sons are dying for her in the battlefield, like, to random javelin shots. Like, they love, like, she is a great leader. I'm hoping we're being swerved, and maybe she stays in power, and Ysera just comes back to be like, I'm gonna go fly and battle a titan in the mountains while you guys run through the raid.
Listen, the legend says that my wings will soar across Azeroth once again, and that's all I'm doing, baby. I'm just dragon riding around this island.
I have 6 dragon baubles. I will use them all up, and as soon as I've done my final flippy dip, I will go back into the Shadowlands, and bye.
But yeah, I've also really liked where Marithra has been standing with just the dragons. She seems like a really good leader. Like, why are they building her up to take her away from us? I hope they're not. Maybe Ysera will just be a ghost and will just do something ghostly, like haunt a local pinball machine or something, you know?
Also, like, what the fuck?
What's the name of their mobile game that didn't but also did come out?
Arclight something.
The one Arclight machine in the Dragon Isles. She's like, I'm the pinball wizard.
Yeah, when was that due?
Like 10 years ago? I don't know.
I've seen shills on the interwebs talking about just enjoyed my last Arclight match, and I'm just like, is this in Zeta? Not even alpha, all the way on the other side of the alphabet?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure. Oh, it says pre-register, so it's not officially released, and I don't see any dates for this bad boy.
Anyways, I do not want to discuss Arclight Rumble. We have way more important things to talk about. But I'm still hung up on the fact that Marithra seems important. I've fully bought in. I am a Marithra stan now, I believe. Basically, she's thousands of years old on her own. She has kids. And basically everything in the Onaran Plains is the way it is because of her.
Yeah.
The centaurs basically said that, like, Marithra is the one who bonded with them, not even Ysera.
Yeah, I was just say the Maruk have Marithra lore. And I know I texted you guys like they paid for this. This is a buyout. But like this is a whole area in the Dragon Isles that's like, we love Marithra specifically. Her mama ain't never said shit to us.
And isn't that basically what powers up her oath stone? Is her oath to like the centaur and their friendship and just like working together as partners?
Not
like,
a single one of them. There is nary a sign language symbol about Ysera. It's all about Marithra.
I also love
this is just
that.
one more place where Ysera will just show up and they're like, oh my god, you must be the cool one, and then Marithra has to go back to kicking rocks.
That interpreter to the Khan that could only like mentally speak to like the interpreter and like couldn't like was deaf. She's deaf, right?
She would sign.
I believe she is deaf and mute, so she can just sign at him.
But yeah, like that was such a cool. He's just like, yes, I am the interpreter. Here's what she's saying. Fuck you. It's like he was such a no nonsense
Except
dude.
that, okay, so, and I know I mentioned to you guys at the end of the Onaran Plains, every leader of the Maruk that survives has to give her a sacrifice to like approve the bond between them and the Green Dragonflight.
Oh my god, don't get me started on this.
And one of the things you can do for her clan is to give away her interpreter. I didn't because I found that monstrous, but like Blizzard.
Okay.
Surely they say no, right?
I will say I pressed every option. I hit every single option for what I could give. But first I will also say, can we talk about the order of things given? Okay, so like the main woman who I love the most, she's like, the spear from my first kill, easy. And then someone's like, the blood from my hand.
No, that's the thing. So, like, I purposely was trying to choose the wrong answers on all of them to see what would happen, and they basically like tell you off and like say like, "Oh, I don't think that's proper." So then, like on the one where it's
because that one, I'm so sorry. Yeah, that one is my son.
Yeah, no, but like the one where it's like, oh, this is funny. Like, I'm going to ask her to, like, give some blood. I'm like, that's totally not the right answer. And then, like, instead of telling me, like, no, champion, that's the wrong answer, she's like, I'm going to pull out a fucking dagger and slit my hand and give you some of my own blood. What the fuck?
Yeah, the absolute worst options are, and so I guess you confirmed they don't actually work because you can give away the interpreter, you can give away the main person's firstborn son, and the other person who's like, my clan loves Onara, the bird spirit. You can be like, kill your bird for her. But allegedly, you can't actually do these things. I think I accidentally picked the safest, the correct option every time because I was like, surely it can't be these other things.
Yeah, if you choose the wrong one, they have like different like funny quips about like why it's not the correct one. Like on one of them, it's like, oh well, I appreciate the enthusiasm, but like I do not think it's possible to give you the entirety of the wind itself.
What was the last one? Because all I remember about the last one was that it was garbage in comparison to the blood and to the first weapon. It was like, here's some flowers I picked.
It was
It's like a feather of the owl or something like that.
Yeah, a feather of their Onaran falcon companion.
So this woman literally cut open her palm and drained her blood into a cup, and you're like, I got a feather from a rock. Like, get out of here. Bring something better. Give us your hoofs. Give us your first child. You have to up it up. You have to keep going higher and higher.
That makes me glad, though, that there are wrong options, because I was like, Blizzard, you're going to get so fucking flamed if you allow your mute deaf guy to be like, oh yeah, just give away the interpreter. I guess she'll just sit in a corner now and do nothing.
The first one I did press was give away the interpreter because I thought it would be so funny. And then it was like, absolutely, I will not be doing that. Why would you think that'd be a good idea? No. And I'm like, wow. I mean, yeah.
Also, I just want to say, like, while we're talking about like the Onaran plan still, the way that they were talking about Onara the entire questing campaign, it honestly, for some reason, shocked me that, like, Onara was actually a physical being that was being held captive by the Primalists at the end. I was like, oh, I thought this was, like, a god, like a loon that we just wouldn't see.
It's like, help me, I'm being strangled. And I'm like, oh, shit, that's a person.
I feel like whenever it's wild gods, you see them, and they're always like less impressive than you'd think. Like Onara is maybe 4 times bigger than Growlina. Like, I think given a time warp and like the ability to use Ice Block to heal myself, I think I could take Onara. I could beat the shit out of her.
Especially like throw us in the ring next expansion when we have some eye level on her, you know?
Spice her up just a little bit. What is she? Like, what is she? Because, okay, the first time I saw her, you know what my first thought was immediately? Aaron, what is the name of the eyeball man in War of the Monsters?
Shit.
Shock.
It's both Cyclops, Connecticlops.
Connecticlops. Her form, I was like, that was like an alternate Connecticlops outfit that I would find in War of the Monsters.
I love that guy. Second favorite, by the way, for any War of the Monsters heads out there. I'm a Praetor main, but a Connecticlops alt.
Very fair. But to actually answer your question, she's referred to as the Wind Mother. So she's like kind of like a wind wild god, I guess. But like I think she's actually just a giant bird, right? She's actually like, you know, those birds that I caught in Bastion that I had as Metalloid's pets a little for a while there. I forget what they were called.
Mm-hmm.
She's a bird?
She's a bird, right?
Wait, did you not see what she was? Yeah, she's just a wind bird.
So when I did this quest, it was pretty late. So, like, I remember seeing her inside of this bubble, but I did. Oh, that's a bird. Wow, look at that. So, I guess
So, I'm going to fully say, when you said she looked like Connecticlops, I went with you because I didn't want to call you out. But I was also like,
in like a bubble, right?
I was like, I do not know what the fuck this man is talking about, but he's making a War of the Monsters reference, so I'll go with it.
I kind of get it, though, because, like, especially if his first time actually seeing her was the end of the Onaran campaign where the Primalists were zapping her, she was in a thunder orb, and there are a bunch of like zappy things connecting to her because they were trying to like absorb her energy or something.
Yeah, so there was like zappy stuff happening, and she was being sucked, and so I thought this was what she looked like. Because like mostly, I'm reading these quest texts have been honestly some of the longest quest texts that they've done in a while. So I'm reading this like full ass 3 paragraphs while glancing at like the model that's being zapped, and I'm like, oh, Onaran, oh, yep, she's electricity. That's her.
But yeah, I guess we like completely just talked about the Onaran Plains campaign, and honestly, I think the Onaran campaign was a little more interesting than the Waking Shore one. The Waking Shore's big takeaways for me were basically that there's a Game of Thrones between like Wrathion and Sibelian, which I just want to quickly throw my opinion on that, I guess. I know, sorry, we're just like completely jumping around, but like I'm just so excited to talk about everything. Basically, Wrathion's been pissing me off this expansion. I feel like he's re-entered his like teenage angst era, where like he feels like he has a lot to prove because he got slapped down by Razageth and called a whelp. So he's like, now he's like, I need to like exhibit some machismo and prove that I'm like a big guy or something. And I don't, he just feels really like brash, and I don't know. So like, that's why I feel like I want to be against him. But then also Sibelian literally came from a different timeline, and I'm like, why do you feel like you now can claim this throne when like actually Wrathion has been on Azeroth as like the main Black Dragon here? So if we're talking about the aspect of Azeroth, it probably should be Wrathion, even though I'm kind of mad at him right now.
No, it should be Wrathion for sure. But Sibelian's definitely a different timeline. He just has been removed from all elements happening because he's been in Outland, not Draenor. Draenor would be the different timeline technically.
Yeah, the implication was he was in Outland and he was training his Black Dragons to do like sick shit. So it's like he doesn't know what's going on in our thing, but he's bringing these dragons who are like super spec ops guys.
So like maybe I misspoke by saying timeline, but like still he's coming from a different dimension, right?
Yeah, he
knows nothing about what's been going on in Azeroth. After BC, he was like, relative years of peace.
I love the quest text though from like the supporters from both, because like the Wrathion ones were right. They were like, well, his methods are questionable, but his results are undeniable. He gets shit done. But the Sibelian ones were like, Yeah, he hasn't done anything, but he's been in wars. He's an older veteran. He's a stronger, bigger dragon. Like everyone is very like down to earth and realistic about their decisions on who they supported.
Once again, I haven't finished it, but he's leaning really into like,
Netherian himself picked me.
and everyone's like, yeah, Deathwing picked you. It's like, well, we did a lot of good years when he wasn't the Deathwing, so, he had a tough time at the end there, but every time beforehand, I was his number 2 guy.
It's like when you marry an old man and you convince him to put you in his will because he was like old and senile at the end. Well, he picked me. His rule is law, right?
Yes, the last thing he did before he went insane was said that Sibelian's the coolest. Because I sucked his wiener. Everyone's like, whoa.
I'm the king.
He said, I will get my black crown in any way I can. I don't care how many people I have to suck off.
So yes, like speaking of these like supporters, Aaron, I know you must have seriously popped because I know that you are probably the biggest supporter of left and right, and they got a lot of screen time here.
Okay, so left and right, I do appreciate. Partially because their names are fucking stupid. But the only thing was that bit when it's like talk to Sibelian supporters and talk to Wrathion supporters. You talk to left and right and they were like, yeah, he did Legion, but you guys wouldn't have been, or I'm sorry, he did WAD, but you guys wouldn't have been prepared for Legion if he didn't do WAD. And I was like, I don't even think that's true.
Yeah, okay.
You guys are doing a disservice to Wrathion by mentioning he did WAD.
Yeah, I was like of all the things...
People died there.
Like, they could have mentioned Pandaria, like a million things, and they mentioned the WAD Iron Horde and sending Garrosh back into time. That was bad. Like, you cannot justify that no matter what.
You know who could have punched the dragons really hard? Vindicator Marad, but he died because Wrathion did WAD.
Right, though? What the fuck?
We could have had 2 Velens! Wrathion killed second Velen!
My most watched YouTube video. Never forget.
Like, it's like, okay, I support Wrathion because I like him. I like him more than Sibelian. But it's like, you guys fucked up. It's almost like you had 3 good Sibelian arguments and you only had 2 Wrathion ones. And then he came to you like, we're buddies, right? Ignore what they said.
So I think we're all on the same page here that we're probably Team Wrathion. Myself a little bit begrudgingly. Not that I want to support Sibelian, but I think that I'm mad at Wrathion. Anyways, I think it's important for our first week of Dragonflight to nail home a sexiest NPC of the week.
Okay, I'm sure we're all thinking about the same person here.
Well, there's been a lot of them, but I'm interested. You floated someone earlier. Tell me about them.
I mean, okay, I would be perfectly okay with naming a few because, like, I feel like we need to like bring on this hype train again. You know?
Okay, everyone, what was the first thing into your head? Think about it, dwell on them, and hang on to them.
I'll go first, though, because, like, I think I called the shot very early on. The minute I saw this NPC, I'm like, this needs to be a sexiest NPC of the week. If you're in our Discord, you already know who I'm talking about. Join our Discord, donotRelent.com. It'll bring you there. Anyways, I am nominating Head Chef Stacks as sexiest NPC of the week.
Oh, let me tell you, no one's hotter than a man who's in the literal oven himself.
Well, also, he, like, speaks to you.
I was not prepared. It was a cooking trainer. It was a little oven. I was like, excuse me? And then you talk to him, and my man transforms like he's Peter. I was say Peter Cullen, but that's not Optimus Prime's name. But he transforms. He's like, let's learn some cooking. I'm about to cook you. What are those shoes? I was like, oh, what?
Like this dude, so sexy. Like, not only guaranteed can cook you a really bomb-ass meal because he is literally a cooking trainer, the first cooking trainer that you will meet in Dragonflight, the new expansion. But Head Chef Stacks, that's such a cool name. Like, I don't know if that's a nickname or his, like, Christian God-given name. Either way, love it. Also, just cool as fuck. And, like, he knows he's cool.
Dude, he's so fucking hot, he'll make you some of his loaded cake.
I mean, literally hot, like he is an oven. So,
so I gotta say, I do love this man, and even his one appearance on the Waking Shore, I was like, ooh, sexy baby, ooh, mommy. Did he show up other places?
does he need to show up other places to prove his worth to you, Aaron?
That's true. That's true. Even if my man only sits at base camp of Waking Shore, I am waking sure that I've fallen in love with him.
Well, I've got my sexiest NPC of the week ready.
Ooh, tell me.
Who is it?
I'm gonna give my personal sexiest NPC of the week this week to my boy, the namesake of his dong, Big Canuck, Master of Soups. That's right, the big Tuskar makes those soups. They don't call him Big Canuck for no reason.
He said, I'm going to make you beat your meat. And I said, ooh, yeah, Big Canuck. And then he threw down like a quarter of a fish. And he was like, beat the shit out of this for the soup. And I was like, oh, sorry. And I zipped up my pants and proceeded to throw fireballs at
You zipped up his pants.
He said, thanks. I had to XYZ, examine my zipper.
I mean, the thing is, I would then, unzip his pants again because I would take a ride on his big Canuck, if you know what I mean.
And he gets everybody fucking wet. He's like, everybody come on in, hop in the soup and stir it up. And next thing you know, your clothes are just drenched in his beautiful soup.
I don't like that. I didn't get the prompt to stir the soup. That made it extra hard to achieve my soup duties, my
Honestly,
soupies.
he told me to get in the soup and I did, and then I'm like, I'm walking in a circle. Is this working? There's no indication that your stirring is working. I have no clue what stirs him, but he didn't like whatever I was doing in that soup.
Listen, he has his own device to stir the soup. He just wants to see all of us get wet.
He's such a giver. What a giver.
He's a big fan of wet t-shirt contests, but he has soupy
wet shirt contest? I thought it was a wet soup contest.
Good soup.
Who do you have, Aaron? Who's your personal recommendation for this week?
Well, my personal recommendation comes with Visage Form Syndragosa.
She is hot though, legitimately sexy. Ours were kind of jokes, but she is actually hot.
Yeah, I'm gonna put my hands up here. Visage Form Syndragosa is just a really attractive woman. That's like a hot to trot lady. It's just wild that she's here. She is looking at me with those beautiful big blues, those big nasty dragon blues.
Is she wearing the dragon crown that you get from paying for
She's rich, she's a bougie bitch. She's a bougie bitch. She paid 30 plus United States dollars to get that shit.
Because if you remember, the actual name of that item is the Diadem of Syndragosa.
Oh, I thought it was just a dragon diadem. It's a regular diadem. It's her diadem?
I'm pretty sure, at least, or maybe I just made that up in my own head when I saw it.
The only thing I have against my girl Syndragosa is I did kill her when she was bones, so this is only her mirror image, which means as soon as I get down to get the friction on, I poke her and she'll disappear. Because unfortunately, with a single hit, mirror images disappear now.
She's smart, though, because she knows the only man for her was Malygos. Anybody else can get their fucking hands off of her, so no one else can have her. Just her and Malygos together in death. R.I.P. Crazies.
Well, I'll be in a cave on the Azure Span just pumping away thinking about my girl, Syndragosa. Oh!
But, the thing is, we saw all of these mages and dragons in the Azure Span create, 10,000 mirror images of themselves, and she's literally just, a hologram, version of herself that also is vaguely a mirror image. So, even though she is very committed to Malygos, you know that if you were Malygos, she could create probably 10,000 mirror images of herself, and you could have a really hot orgy with all of them.
Hey, imagine that with Big Canuck, though.
What's better after a 3,000 Syndragosa orgy than Big Canuck nakedly sitting in the soup?
Big Canuck's page on Wowhead is blank. I will have the honor of writing the first comment. What do I write on Big Canuck's comment page?
Well, I see that your comment already is ready to go, honestly. It's just all lowercase, one word, just says big.
Well, I was going to write, like, Big Canuck with some rhyme. Big Canuck gets the snook. Big Canuck gets the... something sexual, but I don't know.
Big Canuck will suck my kook.
I'm not writing that, though. So, like, again, they're going to delete inappropriate content. So, suck would get them deleted automatically, I think.
Big Canuck will wholesomely swallow my
I got it. I'll just be like, DNR has named Big Canuck 1/3 of sexiest NPCs of the week. And I'll just plug us on Wildhead.
Fucking do it, like, promo December.
And now with that, as I write this comment, it's time for our top two, bottom boot, medium mood. I will start us off, and I'm gonna be that guy and take up the easiest one and say, honestly, dragon riding is my top two this week. It feels so good. I will take all the time in the world to climb the highest peak and just fucking soar at a 90-degree angle down and then right myself to get so much speed. It's just, it's so good. I love it. Get your shit maxed out. I'm soaring through the fucking, it's kind of weird because, like, Blizzard devs said that they wish that they never added flying to this game because it makes them have to create an overworld and, like, things above. It kind of sucks. But it's so good that I'm kind of like, oh man, it's almost too good. They're going to have to do this for every expansion because, I don't know, like, the next one not having dragon riding is going to feel kind of bad, which is like,
Yeah, you're right. Maybe they'll do a thing where at the end of this expansion we can unlock dragon riding for the rest of the world, but that seems like quite the ask as well.
That seems like a huge ask, and I think it's too high of an ask. And I know that they've been very pro, we want to keep certain systems and bring them forward. I don't think this is one that's going to go forward, but you know what? I mean, it has such a high reception. Honestly, they should just keep it forward. They should find a way to force it because people love this shit. What about you, Amin? What's your top two, bottom boot, medium boot?
Honestly, I have a few top toots. I am just going to start
Multiple
off with saying,
toots!
overall top toot, Dragonflight, it's here, new content. Honestly, kind of overwhelming with the amount of new content, but, like, that is a great problem to have. My second top toot is going to be maybe a little bit controversial, and it's going to be that I appreciate that the way that they're doing this rollout here, where we just straight up have a few weeks before any of the end tier content even opens up. Like, Raid and Mythic Plus don't even start until it's like the 13th, right?
Correct. We have a lot of time, which is great for the stupid wedding we have to go to this weekend. Fuck me.
I mean, I'm going too, but yeah, it's just nice. And then, like, even more so, I'm just like, basically every expansion that's come out, I've, like, taken my time more and more to just, like, enjoy the content, level through it, absorb it all. And I feel like no guilt in taking, like, literally, it took me 3 days to get max level on my priest. And, I just enjoyed it at a slow pace. It was fun. The leveling and questing. So my third, that brings me to my third top two, is that, like, the questing, so good. Like, love it. Love the zones. I'm just really happy with what Dragonflight is right now. Yeah, so just overall happy.
Oh, I 100% agree. And I feel like normally we're pretty much, like, very much, like, I love WoW, like, a lot, like, no matter what. I mean, which isn't true. Like, we dump on WoW when it fucking deserves it, and it honestly always kind of deserves some dumping on. But the current state of this expansion, compared to the past expansion launches, like, these zones destroy Shadowland zones, and I like Shadowland zones. I like all of them, and I just feel like they feel so just much more alive in every aspect than the last ones did. And, like, I don't know, that's just like me personally feeling this, or like me wanting to feel changed, but it feels so good.
I mean, I'm tempted to agree with you. As I said earlier, I feel like they've hit a really good spot of, like, nostalgia grabs, but then also combination of, like, new WoW. It just feels really good right now. But yeah, Aaron, what do you got for a TTBBMM?
Well, I have two top toots.
Double week for toots, folks.
My first toot is that, as an early Crimbus present, Cubby Bub got me my own big wraparound monitor. finally I have a computer monitor, but you better believe I plugged my old television monitor in. So I finally have that Epic Streamer 2 monitor experience.
2 monitors, 2 toot-toots.
Honestly, Aaron, surprised that it took you this long, but welcome.
Okay, wait a
Except
minute.
that usually the other monitor, as of yet, I don't know what to put over there, so it's usually just like the white woman killed her husband Netflix documentary I listened
How
to.
small was
So
that
every
first
so often,
monitor? Was it small?
No, I've upgraded from 22 to 24
Was that
inch.
monitor small?
I wouldn't say it was necessarily small, but like, Aaron, what is the history of that old monitor? Because I was tempted to say like, it looks a little
Literally,
You
dated.
saw it. I forgot you saw the monitor.
Yes. Freshman year of college, that was my television. So
Aaron,
this
are you
monitor,
shitting me?
this television is 10 years old.
Wait. I'm sorry. You've been using a television from freshman year of high school, of college, as your computer monitor?
Yes.
What is the dimensions?
It was the one you've seen this thing. When you would go in my room in college, the TV that was there, that was it.
Oh my god, that's so little.
Yeah. In fact, I believe it was the TV that would sit on top of the thing, the one that
It's
I'm
like
sorry.
my old little TV that I had, like with like the DVD player.
Yes.
Yes.
But anyways, that now exists as my second monitor, but all I usually put over there is like Spotify or Netflix. But I'm very incredibly appreciative that I can start this expansion with a real monitor.
I also just want to say that like I really found it really funny that like this was posted about on Facebook and Cubby Bub's mom was like, "Wow, Merry Dragonflight Day, I guess."
Yeah, she doesn't know what it is, but she's like, Merry Dragonflight Day.
Also, don't worry, guys. I did submit a post on Big Canuck's comment. I said, another pod, Do Not Relent, has officially approved Big Canuck as our 1/3 record holder of Second NPC of the Week, December 2nd, 2022. We love you, Big Canuck.
But also, speaking of things I love and things I've achieved, my other top toot this week is that during recording, I did manage to squeeze out in the final hours my fell drake.
Oh,
I was watching some guy on Twitch. I'm so sorry I got rid of you, and I don't remember your name because it was so generic that I got rid of it. But I did watch a man for I watched him for 3 hours. Then I think he gave up, and then I watched some VTuber in the background. But I have my fell drake. I logged in to reclaim it, and I said, this looks just like the Onyx Drake from Wrath. This thing looks stupid.
Wait, did you
and
see
then
its
I
little
logged
farty
out.
claws? Now, its claws are longer on its toes, and it does emit a green
I didn't.
stink.
All I saw was that it was black, and it had a little symbol above its head. And I was like,
wait, you didn't
"Neat,
pull it
I'm never
out?"
going to use this. No.
Pull it out. Now, I will say it surprised me. It does have features that no other mount has, but the features are literally its hands and its tail and its back of its wings emit a fell rot. So this nasty, like 2-pixel green particle just comes out of your backside like you're shitting and farting for every day of your life.
it literally leaves a green fart cloud stank in its wake.
It's literally a fart
Well,
dragon.
I'm sure excited to see it at some point, ? Considering we have dragon riding, I don't know when I'll see the fell drake, but I'm sure I will someday.
You know what I also don't understand? When you're dragon riding in Stormwind, you just can't ride that mount as a regular mount. The dragon riding mounts are not regular mounts. They only exist as dragon riding mounts. And I gotta say, that's kind of a weird choice that you couldn't code them usable as regular mounts, right? Like, that's bizarre.
I almost feel like I need to update my macro to like choose a flying mount while I'm in the Dragon Isles, and then like choose a normal flying mount when I'm outside of it.
Well, yeah, because like if you're in a dungeon that exists not in the Dragon Isle, so if you're in Dragonside Hollow, is that Dragon Isles? Either way, you can't ride your dragon in that area. You have to pull out a regular mount.
And as we know, like once Mythic Plus opens in a few weeks, there's going to be half of the dungeons that are just not in the Dragon Isles at all. So
Yeah, and like I have key binding set up for like mount versus Dragon Isles mount, and I'm like, well, you're gonna make me like have to make another macro for this? Like, fuck you. Anyway, we're out of here. We got it. This is a long one. Oh my god.
Hey, you guy. Well, there's still a little bit left because I have to thank our Patreon friends. These include Command Sergeant Major Tijurla, fourth host of the podcast, Monkey, Ahoy, Vince, aka Nathaniel skilled himself to see Sylvanas that you won't even pick up the phone. NSYNC/Drag Race, Azarin, Mitch, who wants the pod to know that the hunters of Uno Mas are burly boys, even though I saw him on his warrior, and he stated that was his main.
I mean, I'm still burly, though.
True.
I mean, I'm the only hunter now, though.
True. Kardake, Saracen Hawk, Joe Dorno, Gershom, that 100% Christmas bitch. Merry Christmas, baby.
Oh, yeah.
That part was my addition. Hoax, asking Growlina to say, for the Horde. Vanderlyle, generational something or other. Smarf, debased god. Slidewhistle says,
Big Canuck. I mean, fuck Craig.
And Will, a.k.a. Tyre, Trade Chat's fallen father.
With that, we're out of here. This has been a long one, people. Don't expect more of these in the future, though. You know, if we can't control ourselves, who fucking knows? Dragonflight's awesome. Send us any complaints about Dragonflight to donotrelentlpod@gmail.com. Join our Discord and join our Wordle chat. We love our Wordlers, and if you're playing Wordle, we need you at donotrelent.com. What about you guys? Where can we find you on the internet?
You can find me, Alex or Immunization, on Twitter at New Era Alex. You can follow our podcast Instagram account on the gram at Do Not Relent.
You can find me, Aaron the Human, at The Big Cheesy on Twitter.com. You can read the show's literary musings at DoNotRelent.LiveJournal.com, and you can watch me on Twitch at twitch.tv/AaronDNR. Sorry I could not get you guys your own Feldrakes. I was having too much fun to stream any of my gameplay.
Hey, I feel ya. Ophelia. And with that, we're out of here.
She looks up, dead from the river. Welcome to the what's it called? The DIA description of Ophelia.
Welcome to the DIA, Dragonflight Inspector Agencies. We will love to see you out there in war mode. Join us, weaklings. Fight with us. And remember,
Another down! Do not relent!
Do Not Relent is a podcast within the 3HNC network, representing U.S. Proudmoore's premier podcasts.
That was a very good wish.